Unfiltered with Ndongo Gashane and Daniel Kariuki.
Thank you for your continued support and welcome to Unfiltered. This is your go-to podcast where we deep dive into politics and the current affairs of the day. Today we're going to discuss a lot. Some of the things that are on our menu include the claims of fallout between Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and his boss, President William Ruto. And also we are going also to discuss about the State of the Nation address by President William Ruto at around 7 p.m. And we, of course, we have our guest analyst who is Bosco Motegi. But before he says a word, Kariuki, welcome.
Welcome. Oh, thank you. Yes, you're saying we have a lot that we are going to be talking about.
Mengi sana in our menu.
So kai stand by.
Wakai stand by.
Afwa Kiswahili wanasema kai kitako.
Kitako hiyo sasa hiyo.
Anyway, my name is Daniel Kariuki, just like Gashane has put it. And he has said we have a special guest today. Ni anaitwa kwa Kiswahili mchanganuzi wa kisiasa. Masuala ya kisiasa. Na kwa English wanamuita analyst, political analyst and also a commentator. Ama?
All those names.
Kiswahili imekata.
They all mean the same.
Nidhani utaendeleza kidogo Kiswahili.
Kiswahili haya maneno yote ni yako sawa yote. Kinita yote ile iko sawa. Thank you very much for the invitation. I really appreciate for this. So we are grateful about God even having given us life and to be here.
The opportunity to be here.
The opportunity to be here.
Right.
At the same time, as my friend Gashane has talked about Mulima and all these things. The last time I was here, it was also heated like it is right now. But you people have...
so you are not a new person to this. You are now becoming a resident.
He is a resident analyst.
yes, a resident analyst, yes.
Maybe you can start by introducing yourself.
I was saying... the issues about the mountain. First, I have seen a lot of claims about Kindiki'S and how he has been he has fallen out with the president. The other day, I saw a story about how the Prime Cabinet Secretary has taken the roles of Kindiki'S, which I don't think is true. One, why? Because
there's no gone very fast.
No.
I expected charged already.
There's no official document that has been released by the government saying, for example, issues of devolution that I think Musalia Mudavadi was discussing with the governors and this team, saying that either the summit or be it the technical committee of devolution on issues of devolution or IBEC has been now shifted to the Prime Cabinet Secretary. Remember, issues of IBEC, the summit of governors, which is chaired by the president and the 47 governors in this summit, and the issues of intergovernmental relations technical committee. These are issues. These are things in the Constitution. It is not something you can take up from someone overnight. So that's my perception on
let me first ask you to introduce yourself. Umeenda kwa Kindiki haraka sana kwa professor. Direct moja kwa moja. But maybe you can talk to our viewers first and introduce yourself.
Yes.
And tell them who is Bosco.
What do you do for
and what do you do for a living maybe. Lakini napenda vile unajua direct to the point.
Without beating up the bush.
No, the reason I've done that,
yes,
the poster that came out was that there was a fallout between the president and the deputy.
Yes.
And people have responded, they have sent me messages and they are very curious.
What's
going
on?
Now fighting the deputy president? And so I have to set the record straight. So anyway, my name is Bosco Motegi Kiura. As you have given me all these names, when I'm not doing commentatorship and analysis and the analysis, I make paints. So I have a company called Bosco Paints. I manufacture paints of high quality and I sell all over the country. So that's my business.
So before we go to the Kindiki'S topic and the fallout and the letters, correspondences on the transfer of power from the office of the Deputy President to the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, because it is actually the Standard who broke out the story, but we're going to talk around about that topic. But President William Ruto is set to address the nation today at 7 p.m.
Yes.
What are your expectations as a political analyst?
For me, I see the president very keen on his development agenda. One, because the president want to talk about the university funding model, because he recently said that there will be students in the universities, colleges and tertiary institutions will be able to access funding for their education through a body that is more or less bigger than HELP or more combined together. So I think this is something he wants to explain to Kenyans and how it's going to go about. Also, I expect the president to talk about the issues of the refinery that is being built for East Africa refinery by Dangote and this partnership. I expect the president also to talk about issues of health. There is recent some project that has been launched by the government regarding ambulances and how Kenyans can access an ambulance at any point. We expect the president also to talk about the infrastructure fund and the sovereign fund and how he's using privatization to move Kenya from from third world to first world. Also, the president, I expect him to maybe talk about a peaceful election in 2027,
right?
And help talk to leaders to tone down their tone, the words that they have been saying, flying right, left, and center. Also, the president will look at the whole issue of peaceful and coexistence in the country, and I don't expect him to talk about much about rearranging the government and things like that. Maybe in a small way, but I don't think it will be a major thing like some people have had them expecting there will be reshuffle.
Cabinet reshuffle.
I don't think so.
You don't think he can pull that card in
it is a possibility anyway, but for me, I think his focus mainly is in the agenda.
Because he might say,
agenda.
For me to achieve this, because I've seen a promo going round, or rather, I think a promo, just showing that how Baku in Azerbaijan, how it was then them days, and Singapore, hizo enzi za kitambo, and right now. So definitely indicating possibility of moving from third world to first world.
Yes.
So don't you think he can at one point say, for me to achieve this, I require to reorganize the government in this manner?
That's why I said it is possible. He will say that he will reorganize, but I don't think today is a day that he will organize. He will announce a new cabinet.
And if he reorganizes, also it's politically meaning something.
In this country, anything is political. Even if you hire Geshane to be Minister of Finance, he'll be said to be a relative of somebody, even if it's you.
He'll be said to be my friend.
For example.
Just a friend.
Yes. For you being his friend is not news, because you're already friends. What will be news is he is a friend of someone who is appointing him.
So basically, Bonabosco, you are saying today's address will be focused more on Ruto's scorecard than what he has been able to achieve.
He may want to talk about what he has achieved so far, briefly, in brief, and also briefly also explain what he is expecting to do. Remember, there's AFCON next year, the Talanta Stadium, the Mau Summit Road, the Nithi Bridge, the dual carriage from Moya going to Embu Meru. Those are he wants to talk maybe about the big projects, the turnkey projects that are doing the transformation from first to third world to first world. I think that's what I think is mainly his focus.
I think if he wants to talk about what he has managed to achieve until now, I thought there is a law that says he should take the State of the Nation to Parliament. Why is this special?
But you cannot gag him not to talk about the things he has done, whether he's a state.
So is he trying to campaign early enough?
Campaigning, you may not be able to tell him not to campaign on this one or this one. Why? Remember, the Constitution allows cabinet secretaries, deputy president, and all government officials to explain the government policy, that is the things that the government is planning to do for the people. Okay, that is in our Constitution. I think Article 152 or thereabout talks about roles of a cabinet secretary, and they are all together with the roles of the president. So you cannot tell the president while he is speaking to limit him not to talk about a certain project, because he has to wait for a state of address. I mean, in Parliament.
So why now? when we have had the health cabinet secretary engaged in a very heated argument on some statements that he made. Alice Wahome, the cabinet secretary for lands, I think, responding, and then issues to do with, as Kashani had put it, the Standard had that story of roles being handed over to the prime cabinet secretary, and then there are allegations, or rather not even allegations, there are reports that there could be a push and pull, and Professor Kithure Kindiki being sidelined. Why now? Why have that special? And then it was announced today.
Why not now? That's also a question I would ask. Why not now? Because there's no special time to speak to the nation. Remember, the president is a symbol of unity in this country. He's the father of this country. He has no limitation on when to say a certain issue that he thinks would propel this country forward. So I think it's a great opportunity for this country to listen to the president, to listen to the things that he thinks will transform, will change this country, including what you're talking about, maybe even doing reshuffling the cabinet. That is an important issue. Why not do it now? So the thing is, whether whether it coincides with all the things we have said, it is the right time to say it.
So hapangi kufunika hii yenye tumesikia sana na he states.
No, what I've said, actually, when we started, when you were stopping me to talk about Kindiki, I think it's important to make it clear this way, that devolution is a very important thing that happened to this country. And I'm very passionate about devolution. In fact, I've written a book about devolution, and I will come with it one of these days we share. It's called Power to the People. So what I'm talking about devolution is that our constitution was very deliberate to bring power from Nairobi, from the authorities up here, to bring down to the people, and also the resources at the same time. What I was explaining about the fallout, the so-called fallout between the president and the deputy president, through what has been seen like meetings being handled by prime cabinet secretary. Remember, the prime cabinet secretary is equally a very senior person in this country. Is a high-ranking officer, more or less like third or fourth within the rankings. So if the deputy president, for example, is busy, what stops Musalia Mudavadi to handle a government issue which is urgent? For example, there is an issue. I expect also the president to talk about El Nino, for example. El Nino is something that as people, we are preparing towards that. Those are issues that are affecting our people. These are security issues, more or less, to speak. So the thing I'm explaining about Kithure Kindiki and devolution is this. According to our constitution, there are 3 levels or 4 levels of devolution and how it is handled. One, there is the highest organ called the summit that involves the president and all the 47 governors. These are a place where all governors come together, talk about the issues that are affecting the county. We have seen them talk about the issues of health and all this manner of things. 2, after the summit, there is also now the issue of devolution. After the summit, below there is what is
Intergovernment,
it called? The IBEC, correct. IBEC now, where it's issues of budgetary allocations of the counties and how they are handled. And these are things that are provided under the constitution, that they are handled under the office of the deputy president. Then after that, there is the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee, which is handled by, I think, Denji Kiragu as the chair. So these are the areas that help resources be able to move seamlessly from the national government to the grassroots level. So if any of the government officers is able to handle this issue, well, one maybe is busy, it should not necessarily be seen as if there is a rift. That's why I asked, is there any official document saying IBEC has been moved from the deputy president office to prime cabinet secretary's office? So as long as there's no tangible document, I think it's just speculation or propaganda.
I wanted to leave it to Kashane on that part of the power, the roles being transferred, because he actually did the story, so he will tell us. Yeah. But there is a question that I have asked, and you brought it Mambo to do with devolution.
Yes.
I asked, is the president having the state of the nation too
Is this a diversion?
This is a diversion tactic.
Maybe not.
I think the question by Kariuki
Yes.
is more of about we have the political violence and goonism being experienced, especially in the just concluded Olkarau by-election. We have also seen these reports. We have actually letters from the head of public service, Felix Koskei, communicating the decision of the president to transfer the role of Intergovernmental Relations Committee from the office of the deputy president to the office of the prime cabinet secretary. And the question I think Kariuki is asking, does this particular state of the nation, remember it is coming hot on heels when these reports arrive, and we had also seen some photos of him and deputy president
at night
exchanging pleasantries in State House. Yes. So the question is the president trying to divert the attention of Kenyans because they are asking hard questions. If, for example, you fell out with Gachagua,
yes.
There's also we have also seen the ODM fellas actually referring a cabinet secretary as the deputy president. We have seen Junet Mohammed welcoming Operanya and giving him the title of the deputy president. So do you think this is a diversion tactic, or the president wants to put his house in order?
Let me say this first. The position of the deputy president is not vacant as we speak. That is one. Two, every community today is eyeing to bargain, is eyeing to use the position of the deputy president as a bargaining tool. Be it Kalenjins, be it even Kalenjins, you never know. But obviously they can't, because of the president comes from there. But if you look at the lawyers, if you look at people in ODM, if you look at in the community, including the Dorobo, or even one who be here, if they want to bargain anything right now, they would be more or less excited or move towards campaigning or bargaining power within government using the deputy president's position. Actually, what is exciting is that no one is bargaining to be the president under the government, because they know the current president is vying under UDA to be a president in 2027. So there's no diversionary tactics being applied here, and you'll see this way. This evening, I expect even the president to give the state to the address that he is giving, together with the deputy president. That is one. Two, as we gear to 2027 elections, as I have said, everyone wants to get a pie or a piece of the government that is will be formed. And now people are using the deputy president's position, the cabinet secretary's positions, and all manner of things. So I don't think there's a rift between the deputy president and the president. In fact, we have seen the president praising Kindiki so much, saying that now he has a president, he has a deputy president who is a principal assistant who knows issues about agriculture, about infrastructure, a whole professor who understands the whole system of government. So for me, I think these people are working together, and there's a possibility they could work together. Why? You see right now there's a whole rift which has been put between the Mount Kenya East and the Mount Kenya West. And if I listen to the people of Mount Kenya East, it's not even a physical fight, by the way. The people of the East, what they have been saying, including what CS Roko has always been championing, is that the issues of development in the previous regimes, give an example, the regime of former President Uhuru, there was a lot of development which was done in the West. The Mau Mau roads, the dams, and all the manner of things that were done at the expense of Mount Kenya East, which has always helped the West in getting votes. I heard Boro Ampolo saying when there is an election, Mulima inakuwa, Mount Kenya inakuwa nyasi, inakuwa flat. But immediately after the election, Mulima inapanda. So I think the people of the Mount Kenya East, they have a valid point. And it's always good to fight for their right and ask for development to be brought in the area. But as you have seen, I think President Ruto is one of the presidents that has been able to distribute development evenly in most of the places in this country. And one of the reasons that I can say that, a good example is, you have seen the rating that was done recently. He scooped to 32%, which is the biggest percentage of the people supporting him. It was said to be northeastern. Why? They had never seen development. There was no stadium initially. There were no roads. So now they are excited and they are saying they will support the government because of this. That is one. Two, there were Kalenjins who are supporting the president. So for me, even as we proceed, it's good to mention and say, anyone who wants to dislodge President William Ruto from a seat, you have to prepare your arsenals properly and in the right manner. But if it's the united opposition as they are
we'll come to that.
No, it's good to say that, because
we come to the issue of
it may be very difficult for them to remove the president.
Yes, we come to the discussion about the united opposition, and we have a whole topic about that. But now that you have pointed out to the issue of Mount Kenya East and Mount Kenya West, you seem to be a proponent of what Ruto has been talking about, because Ruto has bin saying that hata yeye si Mkikuyu, he doesn't subscribe to this other region, the Mount Kenya West. You seem to support by saying that they have a varied concern, right? So what do you make of Kindiki'S statement, the deputy president, when he said that Ruto is disrespecting the flag which is actually embedded in his vehicle? Do you think and also in one of the TV stations, Ruto said that even if Kindiki will not be picked as Ruto's running mate, Mount Kenya is still going to support President William Ruto's direction. What do you think about that?
Let me give you an example. For example, myself, I am vying for a position of member of parliament in Manyata constituency in Embu County under the UDA party, for one reason, that whether Mount Kenya East, whether the president picks Kithure Kindiki or not, the people of Mount Kenya East and Mount Kenya in general, they still support the president for one reason of...
I hope you have underlined that. That's a very good...
They will still support the president.
So Kindiki is a non-issue?
No, it's not a non-issue. What I'm saying is this. Don't pick words from my mouth. Right now you have already said something which I don't agree with, that Kithure Kindiki was telling Ruto to use the bendera. That was a clip that was done a long time ago, and it was taken out of context. In fact, if I look at
Kindiki from
what he said recently, he said he appeared like, obviously who he is, as a nationalist, not a person on issues of
not a tribalist.
Yes, not a tribalist.
So
that was the whole thing he was explaining.
So he was trying to question Ruto from being a tribalist. He was telling him to be a nationalist.
Allow me to prosecute my case. I'm saying this, that Kithure Kindiki, in his address, saying that those people who are dividing the mountain, this and that, I think he was referring to Gachagua from my explanation. In this way, Kithure Kindiki wants to appear, and he has always appeared, as a national leader, as a deputy president of each and every person in this country. And what Ruto has been saying about Mount Kenya East and West is about the issue people of the East. And I will tell you, because I go to that East and I see these people, what they are saying is, us, we have never tasted power ever since 1963. When there was a deputy president who was a Kikuyu, who was a Gachagua, the West had no issues. If the president took Ndidi Nyoro, for example, would you be having the same noise? Those are the questions people are asking.
But so, anyway, you have said clearly,
yes,
but even if President William Ruto does not pick Kithure Kindiki professor,
yes,
the good professor of law and human rights,
yeah,
the east of the mountain is still going to vote to re-elect President William Ruto.
The more reason I gave an example of myself.
So therefore, so does it mean, Kariuki, that Kindiki will not be a factor in Mount Kenya East, because Ruto seems to have gotten some votes, including Bosco?
No, that's, Bosco, there is something Bosco seems to be saying. It's like he does not want to confirm that. Okay, it's like he wants to remain committed to UDA party, and the President William Ruto's push for a second term, but again, he still wants to push for Professor Kithure Kindiki to be the running mate.
No.
Are you
Can I make that clear?
Yes.
The issue I'm saying is this. I want to repeat. Maybe I can repeat in Kimeru. Even in my mother. What I'm saying is, I'm from the East anyway.
Yes.
The point is, ours is about 2 term.
It is not about Kindiki.
No, wait. You're the one who is saying. Ours is
That's
about
what I want to understand.
First of all, let me make it
Yes,
clear.
yes.
Ours as Mount Kenya East, first of all, is about 2 term.
Yes.
It's about re-election of
President
William Ruto. Okay?
Correct.
That is 1. 2, we are offended by someone who is angry that we have a deputy president who is there currently as a deputy president of Kenya, whom we are molding and very happy to support with our 2 million votes because he's too close to the president position, that we are molding him or supporting him to be a president in 2032. That's the whole point. However, in the event that in the event the arithmetics
does not
of 2032 of President William Ruto, Kithure Kindiki can become even a prime cabinet secretary. He can become a president even in future. So the thing is, we are supporting Kithure Kindiki 100% to be the deputy president of William Ruto. Okay? But all the other communities are now coming very seriously looking for this position. And as we move, we know how the arithmetics of this country in terms of votes are.
Okay, what if the communities that are coming for this second position manage to get that running mate position? Those communities you're mentioning.
Yes.
And then the seat is no longer with the Mount Kenya East.
What I'm saying is this, that we are supporting Kithure Kindiki with all our hearts and with all our votes to be the running mate of President William Ruto in 2027.
And I'm getting you.
Okay?
Yes.
And we are supporting the president
for a
second term.
That's what I'm saying.
In 2027.
As you continue supporting Professor Kithure Kindiki for the running mate position, what if the other communities are the ones who are given? Are you going to still stick on that statement that you are supporting President William Ruto for the second term?
The thing is, right now people are arguing, for example, that DCP has taken enough portion of UDA in Mount Kenya, the entire Mount Kenya. Something I disagree with. Why? We are 1 year to the election of 2027, right? Anything and anyone who is serious in politics knows anything. 1 year is like 10 years in politics.
Precisely.
Yes. So anything can happen. Anything can happen. So many things,
including dropping Professor Kithure Kindiki as a running mate,
and including picking him as the deputy president. But so the thing is, as we move to 2027, our first number 1 goal is President William Ruto to get a 2 term.
Not Professor Kithure Kindiki being a running mate. First priority.
You are the one talking about that. What I'm saying, Kithure Kindiki is our son, and we are offended by anyone who is not supporting him. So
I think so that you can make progress. Let me.
Bosco does not want to answer my question.
Let me paraphrase the question.
You want me to answer it your way? No. I have my way of answering because that's the way I know it.
In the political arithmetic, there are scientific formulas that these people use to identify a presidential candidate and also the deputy presidential candidate. Now the question that I'm asking, what will happen to you as a person if, for example, the formula does not favor Abraham Kithure Kindiki? What would you do as an individual if the formula to pick an running mate by President William Ruto does not favor the good professor?
What I'll do is this. First of all, President William Ruto is likely to win with what is called the tyranny of small numbers. Okay? We have just explained to you that the rankings and the ratings of opinion poll are showing us he enjoys a lot of support all over the country. And the by-elections that have been done recently can show very well, whereby out of, let's say, 10 by-elections positions of member of parliament and senate, UDA and ODM has been able to scoop a whole 9 of them. Okay? Nguvu ya vyama ni membership. The strength of political parties is in the membership of the parties. The two biggest political parties in this country right now as we speak, you know them. It is UDA and ODM.
Fractured ODM.
Whatever, even if it's limping, it's ODM. Okay? And it has the biggest number, even if it's
so in short, you're saying,
so the thing is, my concern is how will the president win in 2027?
Okay.
Whether he will win from collecting small numbers from all the different places all over the country, or whether you will get a whole chunk from one area. To give you an example, who knows that? What I know is that the Kalenjin vote, with right now around 5.8 million votes.
5.
Yeah, 5.8.
Ameongezeka.
Nani hao?
Karajins, the vote from the Karajin community.
The entire
5 million Bosco.
I'm talking about the Rift Valley.
Oh, Rift Valley.
Yes. So,
you know, in this case, you're saying
there's a difference between Mount Kenya and Kikuyus.
But you said Karajins. Anyway.
No, I said Kalenjins. I meant the Rift Valley.
Yes, the Rift
it's
Valley.
around 5.7 million votes. You can be assured they all come to William Ruto. And
Ruto's
even if a
basket.
small number doesn't come to William Ruto, the biggest chunk of it.
Tunanganya hapo.
No, wananganyi. They are 5.7.
You can confirm from. So you're saying sasa tuko kwa hesabu sasa.
Kwa hesabu.
Yes.
So
Mount Kenya,
while the other 10 or 11 united opposition people are already divided into each and every person get, even if you see the opinion poll, one is getting 10, another one 3, they are not united as they are. And I can demonstrate to you.
before you demonstrate, yes, before you demonstrate, I want us
I'm
to
coming
talk
to the
about
numbers.
His numbers, yes. Mount Kenya, what do you think Ruto will get from Mount Kenya region?
He gets the 2 million votes before he even comes to the west from the east.
Mmefikisha 2 million.
Kwani unafikiria tuzani? Unafikiria tulikuja kulala?
Bote pia wewe. 2 million.
Kwani hizi kura mnahesabu aje?
No, because looking at the 2022,
yes.
We are talking about Mount Kenya East has Meru, has Tharaka Nithi,
yes,
and has Embu.
Yes.
So when you talk about a place like
And
Embu, okay,
Sio unaona kama ni northeastern.
but
kuna Wameru huko lakini ni sawa. Haina shida.
Isiolo has 89,000 going by the 2022
yes.
Registration.
Yes.
And then we have that's 89. Then we have Meru has 772. I'm assuming with the new registration of voters maybe there are 800,000. And then we have Tharaka Nithi with 231,000 and Embu with 334. So I'm assuming maybe with the new registration around 350.
Yes. So what's the total of that?
So 350,000 plus around 250,000, that's 600.
Yes.
Plus 800, that's 1.4.
Yes.
And then 89. So it's around 1.5.
1.5 and the canvas.
It's going to get.
That's why they can get 2 million votes.
Mislead Ruto nyinyi. Kamba tena wewe unasema iko hiyo.
Tulishachukua kamba wa kwetu. So anyway, the point is this. So okay, assuming he gets,
I got what you say.
Assuming he gets even 1.5 from this.
Yes.
Let's go with your numbers.
That's 100%
So
voter
how much
turnout.
are the rest?
That's 100% voter turnout.
No, let's use the
And
numbers.
in fact, I've put even Isiolo as part of
you guys have
Kenya
no
East.
numbers.
No. Who said they have no numbers?
See, we have said
See, I'm just explaining you to where these numbers are.
Okay.
And I told you, remember, tyranny of small numbers. Okay. So we are talking about Mount Kenya only west. So let's come now to the west. And before even we calculate these numbers of the west, the point is the Orkarao by-election should not cheat anyone that DCP holds all the votes of the mountain. UDA has, in fact, let me tell you, for example, in Manyata constituency, the current rating there is like 60-40. DCP 40 and UDA
But there is
60.
there is
But if it was last year, DCP maybe could have had a 50-50 or thereabout. The thing is, didn't you see Rigathi Gachagua in Meru even having no significant rally in Meru?
Really?
But there was. I'm the one who showed the clips, or we saw them, me and you, online? So what I'm saying is this: before we get to the clips and how the votes are, no one should cheat people that the people of Mountain are so gullible that they will come away from the government that they elected. Waenda kwa mpango ya kando. It's just a matter of time. If, for example, the government does, the contract of Nithi, of building Nithi, is already on site. It's not stories.
How many times has Ruto told
No,
us?
not about told us. I was there last week and the whole place, Chinese were majenga, even an alphas are there for.
Did you take photos?
Yes, I have.
You show us.
Yes, I'll show you photos. If he also does the dual carriage, for example. Embu of Red, the government is building a 1.2 billion market.
I want to agree.
Are the ones that
I would want to agree with you with matters to do with the development.
Yes.
But recently we saw it even in Kalau.
Yes.
They were not persuaded by the amount of
even Kalau is in the West.
Development. Either way.
I'm
But
talking
there
about
are
this.
people of Kenya.
Yes. Either way.
That's why I was also offended. People arguing that the development should not be taken to them. Before the by-election, there was NGCDF there. There was a county development.
But they were not taking
budgets.
bed sheets there.
As what the most important thing people should have done instead of making noise, as you have said, the development was done in Kenya, not Somalia, isn't it? So the people enjoyed. That is one. What is critical there? They should have EACC or anybody or Auditor General should have investigated. Is there prudent use of the resources?
So if Tharaka-Nithi bridge is complete,
not complete, it's under construction.
I'm saying if it is complete,
yes.
completed, and then you've talked of dual carriage.
Yes.
Do you think all that can happen within the time frame that we have?
It doesn't.
The
people do not require them to be finished.
Yeah.
As long as they can see them being worked, just like the Rironi Road.
Yes.
You know, people use Rironi Road, including maybe my friend here. So they are very excited with that.
So that time you are not going to talk. my friend, our producer.
Yes.
So you are saying that then people will focus on development.
Yes.
Now this thing of that our son is the running mate, is the deputy president, will not play any role.
Both.
That they will go with development.
Both will play a role. Let me explain to you. The voter of today cares about issue-based politics. The voter of today is able to decipher between someone who is lying, who doesn't know even how to do the work, and the one who is able to do. As long as most of the things that the government promised the people is able to deliver, I can assure you this government of President William Ruto will get a clean two-term. Let me explain to you something about promises. People always say about William Ruto having promised this and that, but when you ask them, they cannot explain what he didn't do. For example, people always talk about gas. There's a plant being built right now to give
but
people,
they give a time frame.
giving time frame maybe could be the issue. But how do you know how it became an issue of time frame? Some of the people like Gachagua, who is fighting today, when they came to power, the first day they told us huko hakuna kitu, hata panya hawezi pata kitu ya kukula. So the government has had struggles, even paying salaries, because there were no monies. Kenya was ranked among the 6 countries in Africa to be able to, who are said to default loans. Kenya paid over 500 billion of its loans, Eurobond and all that, and it's no longer defaulting. So Kenya is no longer in the red.
But he promised,
that is why you have seen projects moving right now.
You know,
with the introduction of just let me finish one second. With the introduction of now the National Infrastructure Fund, the Sovereign Fund, the privatization of institutions, development projects, that's why they are moving in this speed. We are changing, we are constructing again the JKIA. We have seen Talanta Stadium. We have seen the Mosamit Rironi Road. We are seeing the dual carriage I'm talking about, the Nithi Bridge, the SGR. Kwani even a blind person.
Lakini nikuulize, do you think
on a light note about blind
Kenyans care about development projects? We saw what happened during Uhuru's era, former President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
Alikuwa anaambiwa kama ni hii barabara utashida ukituibia kunje upeleke kule Ishaweri. Do you really think, I've heard you talk about a voter of today. Do you really think that today's or voters really care about development?
I would support what you have said, because I wonder how Kenyans say Uhuru was a good president, while before he left, we were running with jerrycans here looking for fuel.
No, I'm asking about development. This part of, do you think development plays a part in an election? That's
where I'm going. Saying that we people are praising Uhuru now that he did development, this, development, that. And during his regime, people were crying, like you have rightly said. So it is normal for any government not to be supported by people when it's in power. We have seen people asking, what was Uhuru doing with our money?
Yes.
That Ruto is able to do all these projects during this time. And I'll tell you this, that any reasonable voter will be able to know, if we continue being in government, we are going to get this amount of votes, this amount of development. We are arguing about that issue of development not counting because of Orkarao, but we didn't argue the same thing in Mbeere North and all the other 9 by-elections. So I think the voter of today is conscious that they are able to read who will cheat them, who is using abusive language
and public resources to
who is using PR and all manner of things and has nothing to offer. By the way, let me allow me to say this. During this time, the only presidential candidate that we know is one president, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto. He has an agenda called Singapore. Okay, he has an agenda saying he wants the country to come from third class to first class, isn't it? Economy. He has a whole plan on how he wants to do it and about the economy. These other fellas, they are keeping one term, Sonko must go, and abusive language.
Yes.
And that's how they will be left in the stage when the train will be leaving.
I wanted to ask you, where I'm laughing is a statement of using public resources to campaign.
Yes.
Now the issue to do with Mount Kenya East, Mount Kenya West.
Yes.
Do you think there's a way, or rather, do you feel like in 2027 election, the two sides might not be together and not have a Mount Kenya block in the 2027 elections?
Let me tell you something.
You think it can be split in the 2027 election, whether Kindiki'S running it or not?
Before I answer that,
Yes.
the question I want to ask ourselves, that issue of Mount Kenya East and the West, is it working or it's not working? It is working. You saw Rigathi Gachagua recently calling Kindiki my brother, professor. Okay? Initially he was calling him those other names.
Soprano.
Mr. Yesa. Right now he's calling him my brother. Because he can feel the pressure. The pressure of Mount Kenya East and West, whereby he said, Gachagua is said to be the one who has been dividing the mountain. So, don't be cheated by anyone that analogy of Mount Kenya East and West is not working. So,
it's not about fallout
with who?
President Ruto and Professor Kithure Kindiki.
Anybody can make an analogy, but I don't think that's the reason. Then on which fallout is there between the president and the deputy? Those are just creation of the media. Which one is the fallout?
Gachagua says that it told his troops not to be attacking Professor.
You know, Gachagua is turning to be another Raila. Let me tell you something. In this way, Gachagua is becoming Raila in this manner. Though he's not perfecting to be like Raila in the end.
So as long as
Raila used to do this. Raila used to fetch information properly within government and come and give credible information of what is to happen and this and that. But what Gachagua is doing is some things he gets, others he gets wrong. You know, so he is used to now to saying, thinking that anything he says, whether right or wrong, people will follow. For example, we have seen fights within DCP, Jubilee, and Wiper. Recently, we saw letters flying right and center when Gachagua said investors should not come to Kenya. Kenya is burning. Kenya this and that. Then he was told by Jubilee, please don't go that direction because we will destroy our economy. We have seen Wiper telling Linda Mwananchi, you guys take slow when you go to Ukambani. Okay, so we have seen the statements that the DCP leader has made regarding, for example, the community of Mount Kenya being guarded, or rather being provided security by young people. You know, anyone who was not here in 2007 may not know what he's talking about, because we saw what happened during this period. Kenya is a country which is led by the rule of law. You cannot say the boys will move in the street to guard us. Kashane were not for police. In fact, I congratulate them what they did in Orkarao. The kind of security which was brought there. I think it helped a lot.
The members of public.
IBC also did a fantastic job in Orkarao. Were it not for what the IBC did in Orkarao, the IBC confidence was eroded, and some people have returned this, have gotten this confidence back. And due to IBC, we might see even young people voting more. In fact, my concern was, where was the Gen Z vote in Orkarao? Huh?
Maybe they feared the people, those goons who wore balaclavas.
Young people, some of them were goons themselves.
But
you know the problem in this country?
Who was responsible for those goons?
Let me tell you where the problem.
To me, you already said
all politicians are responsible.
Both the government and the opposition.
Violence is violence to me, whether it's pro-government or opposition.
So who is to blame?
I call it violence. Okay.
Who is to blame?
And our problem with is the politicians. Do you know why?
We blame the police.
We blame the politicians. Police are not goons.
You arrest goons. If you do not arrest them, then you are to blame. It is not the work of politicians to
make roadside statements. Let me say something that can help us as a country in terms of goons and our security. What I'm saying is this. First, what you should think about as this country is, where are these goons? What is the issue about all this issue of goons? The issue of goons is being brought by unemployment in this country.
Unemployment.
Wow. And so we should focus more on giving opportunities to these young people, so that even if you have a meeting outside here, you might not even having people to come, even if you have not told them prior. But if you go to Nyeri or Embu or Mombasa town and stand there and say, I want a rally, people will just come. So the issue of goonism is promoted mostly by the politicians. How? I come to a funeral, I have my young people coming with me in the name of security, isn't it? You have your own. The moment I make a statement that you feel is not really settling down very well with you, they come and pick the microphone from me. Okay, I think that's how violence starts, with the goonism and all that. And I think wananchi should come to a place of agreeing that if Gashane is bring violence or speaking things that are not promoting any unity or security of our area, a voter should walk there and tell him, Gashane, we support you, we support your party, but what you are speaking will not help this country, and is denying a chance. Two, when it comes to the church, how does a church allow politicians to spew venom in the altar? So the church should have a responsibility not to look only at the money being given by the politician, but tell the politician, can you come and worship just like any other any other person, any other worshiper in the church, and talk about your politics outside the church. That's one of the things that, politicians listen a lot to religious leaders, by the way. If the religious leaders in this country called out all the politicians who are spewing venom and propagating violence in this country, they will listen to them. For one reason or another.
That's a fair point, but it is the work of police to maintain law and order. And then we have a heavily funded agency called the National Intelligence Service. If politicians are going to say whatever they're going to say, they're not going to be arrested, Bonabosco, they are going to be encouraged to talk about those divisive and hate speech, ethnic slat remarks. So we saw goons with guns. Even as we blame politicians, can we blame politicians because of lawlessness when we have an independent national police service that is paid heavily by taxpayers' money, but they are not able to arrest these politicians regardless of their political affiliation? So do we still sit here and say it's not politicians, it's not the police, when it is the work of police to maintain law and order, when it is work of the National Intelligence Service to avert such the crimes that we witnessed in Orkarao?
I agree with you 100%. It is the role of the police to give security to wananchi. As I said, even here, we are here enjoying what we are enjoying here seated because there's security, because we know there's some law and order somewhere. However, let me ask you a question. In a rally setup or in a meeting, we have politicians who are maybe in a protest and guarded by a police who is in civilian with a gun. Isn't it? My brother, when violence comes out, or rather when the police come and, as you are saying, or when there's tear gas all over, when a gun is fired by a man in civilian, are you able to tell, or rather, a policeman who who is in civilian guarding someone who is in violence, are you able to tell that risasi was triggered by a policeman in civilian who is guarding someone, or is it a gun? Are you able even to tell? So it is the responsibility of the police to take care of wananchi and the security in general. So let the police do their work. You are not a policeman and I'm not.
Yes,
so,
of course.
So let it leave it.
Of course, we're not policemen, but the inactive, the inability by the police to even arrest and comprehend goons. We have seen attacks. We have seen leader Mwananchi that is being attacked. Nobody has been arrested. Even as we leave that work to police, Bwana Bosco, we have seen those acts of violence, political violence, chaos, mayhem. We have seen even at some point people getting inside churches and tear gassing children, women. Even as we leave this work to police, does it mean that police are not even able to conduct the aftermath of those chaos? They have not comprehended. We heard what happened in Odhaya, ACK Church with Tima, in Nairobi, in Kitengela here, when
even in
Limuru and Keumbu in Kisii County
was a barrier, I think.
Yes. So do we just say that hiyo ni kazi ya polisi, tuachane nayo, si polisi mimi, so we just leave it at that to encourage that?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this. In fact, I was very happy recently to see Kenya Human Rights Commission bring a proposal to have some order when it comes to protest and
yes,
things like that. Anybody who is not excited by such laws may not be someone who wants well for this country in terms of security. What needs to be done is proper public participation for people to agree that this is the right manner. Because if we say we have laws, our constitution is very very elaborate and very good, but the enforcement of it, the following of the laws, the regulations thereafter is what kills a good law. Whereby if we see people protesting every day in UK, in USA, and there are no deaths. Why? Because there is some order. When we have some order of protest, for example, saying we are going to protest, or rather we are unhappy. Like now, doctors are on strike, to give you an example. Why didn't we have fights or deaths during doctors' protest or lawyers' protest? Do you know why? These people, mostly when they go for protest or maandamano, they are normally very organized. What they do, they take their letters to the police and say, we will be protesting from CBD to Afia house. Can you give us security? And I think this is the best and the right way to do protest. This issue of people waking up every day and saying we are protesting tomorrow against fuel or anything without a proper framework on how to do it is what brings conflict between the police and the people. Because if we have some order, this country would live very, very well. By the way, I got concerned recently when I met people somewhere complaining about the speed guns on the roads and all that. Do you know what, Kashane? Me, I've lived in Europe, and I told you, I've lived in Belgium. I used to work in the European Parliament. I've lived in Belgium, and I've seen in Europe, and I've seen order, and I've seen chaos. What we have here sometimes in this country is chaos. This issue of someone, you have a vehicle, another one want to overtake you, I mean, that's not order. This issue of someone is overspeeding, another one, well, that's not order. Order is what I've seen on the Thika Road Superhighway near the mortuary near there. When people get there, they all stop. They move in a small, wamelipia mara kadhaa. So my point is this. Let's not lose that point.
Yes.
My point is, brother, if you want order in this country, let's be obedient. Let's give way for each other. I have a vehicle. I want to go the other side. You are coming. Can I stop, allow you to pass, so that the people who are behind, also this side can pass, and the jam behind ipungue?
That's okay. But speaking about order,
so I brought that with the issue of Mandaman,
which is a very good thing. Speaking about order, the National Cohesion Integration Commission is actually investigating claims by the Health Cabinet Secretary Eden Duare, where he allegedly, reportedly decided to call the people of the mountain highness, and the NCIC is actually investigating those claims alongside others by former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, and there's another CS, actually CS Ruto, you are native from Embu. What do you make of this conduct, especially these civil servants who are actually dividing Kenyans alongside ethnicity?
You see what I see here. First of all, NCIC should do their job, okay, regardless whether in government or not in government. What I see as a hypocrisy, the highest level of hypocrisy in this country, is when a person in opposition does something that everyone looks back and say that was awful. You know, that the words that Gachagua has said are wrong, okay, and you all agree that was wrong, okay. But when someone in government drops a spoon, becomes an issue. When
he calls a community a hyena.
No.
We now remember Gachagua was not.
But Gachagua was in Meru saying that Dawood should not be elected. That's racism. That's someone who should not even be elected. Why you know racism, we see it in Europe, not in Kenya.
So I'm asking,
you know, the people of Meru are not daft to have elected that gentleman.
So the question is,
Meru. So what I'm giving an example is, you cannot talk about Duale. I don't agree with what he said. That was wrong. You cannot purport to only sing the wrongs of people in government and not Gachagua when he's being phenom, when he says young people to come out and defend their own community. You know what Mongeke did in 2007? You know, let's be careful and fair. Even if you're supporting, I know Standard here, maybe they have something here about against the government or something like that, but let's be fair as
nothing
well.
Against government. That's why we have given you this opportunity, because
no.
government and you are here, we are discussing these issues.
Yes.
So you're saying, Duale should only honor NCIC summons if Gachagua honors. Or what's
not my point.
Yes, what's
my
your point?
Is, first of all, remember, if you listened carefully, I said NCIC should take up their job. And one of the challenges I find with NCIC and also IEBC when it comes to curbing election violence and crimes, for example, IEBC, the Election Act removed powers of IEBC from arresting and prosecuting. So when I see NCIC and even IEBC, they have to arrest you and hand over you to DPP. I think even EACC has always had that issue, because now when the file goes to another body and then someone speaks that file and tells you there was not enough evidence, I think that's where the link, we have the missing link.
But
that's my point.
Do you think it's a fair way of doing things that when the CS says something and then you hear someone says, like you have just said, that even the other one said this and this and
two wrong don't make a right.
That's what I wanted to ask. Do wrong makes
I've said it before you ask. Two wrongs don't make a right.
In the most part, time is up.
Yes.
Tumegonga 1 hour.
Yes.
You can give your final thoughts.
My final thoughts.
And maybe I think we have like 2 minutes, Masharia.
Yeah.
There is a question I wanted to ask. I know we have dealt with Professor Kithure Kindiki quite a lot.
Yes, sir.
But with the demands that we have seen from ODM,
yes,
do you think Kindiki has options?
What do you mean options?
If ODM pushes for the running mate's position, could he be having an option?
If was
or what could be his options?
His options could be, even if you asked him today, he will tell you there is no vacant position of deputy president, but also...
We are talking of the election, 2027 election.
I think it's better to cross the bridge when you get there, because we are 1 year to the election. So a lot of things will happen. People are saying Kalonzo is already pro-government, he's already coming to the government. People are saying, what is his name? Matiang'i does not even have a political party. He's under Uhuru. He's a deputy just like Kioni. Last year, let me give you an example. Last year, people were very excited. You see the excitement you're seeing with Sifuna here. It's nothing new. Last year, if you landed in Kenya, around sometimes July or there about last year, you'd have thought Morara is being elected tomorrow. The other day, if you thought that was not enough, Matiang'i said he was resigning from UN, coming to take over from President Ruto. Where is Matiang'i today? And that popularity. Where is the popularity of Babu Owino? Where is the popularity of Kalonzo and combination of Kalonzo and Matiang'i? So it's too early to judge all these things. So the professor of politics, President William Ruto, has not even started campaigning. So these people, they might find it very rough up and belly. So
my question was about Professor Kithure Kindiki.
But he also works with the president, so that's why I answered that.
He has no. You mean the option is being the running mate of President William Ruto?
The Mount Kenya people East, they don't want to hear any other story from where I sit.
Let's hear your parting shot.
But who knows? President Kithure Kindiki, the deputy president, Yeah, he could become a president. That's why maybe I'm mistaking him to be a president. Anyway, moving to the future.
Yes.
I think the most important thing as a country is to focus on leadership that has leaders wenye kona utu ya watu.
Humanity.
People who have been seen corrupt previously should never be elected or near election anywhere. Personally, the reason I've decided to be to front myself to be a member of parliament for Manyata constituency is this. One, I feel very bad that I'm not participating in doing transformation or changing the lives of the people. Because when you see someone embezzling or doing corruption or eating money from Ministry of Health, that's people, someone who is directly killing the people. I have something I'm championing about mental health. Our young people, some of them who don't have jobs, they slipped into drug abuse and alcohol abuse, and you have seen people committing suicide, young people. So we should, all of us, as we come to 2027, be it opposition or pro-government, our focus should be what is the election question.
Yes.
And it should be about the economy, about changing the people. My focus is to eliminate, I keep saying, there, by now, if I was elected member of parliament, there should be a rehabilitation center in each and every ward. Because let's clean up our boys. Even if we build a lot of industries, and some of the leaders, even in Manyata, where I come from, they are vying for this position. They are the people who have given poisoners to these young people. So I think let's be sincere as we move to 2027. Let's tone down our voices on things that can bring violence.
Thank you so much, Bwana Mutegi, for honoring our invitation.
Yes.
We believe that even in the near future, when we invite you again, you are still going to honor the invitation.
Absolutely.
So that we can speak about this and more others, including your bid for parliamentary seat in Manyata.
Thank you.
And all the best.
Yeah,
He's seeking to unseat
Mukonji, who is now
he's
the
member of parliament.
the governorship.
Oh, he's going for the governor's position. So
And even if he was vying, would dislodge him.
Really?
All the best.
All the best. So my name is Daniel Kariuki. We meet next Thursday.
Yes, until next Thursday, I am Ndungu Gachane.
Unfiltered with Ndongo Gashane and Daniel Kariuki.